Hey, Gomer Nation.
What up, Gomertrons? How's it going?
Block 29,
Mm-hmm.
race and review, sort of.
Mm.
We'll see how much I talk about that. I don't know.
Mm. Yeah, yeah. All right, dude, let's do it.
Here we go.
Okay. One, two, three, click. Claps. One, two, three.
One, two, three. You're listening to Runner's Block, a Two Gomers podcast about regular people chasing big goals by confronting one excuse at a time. This is Block 29. I can't go any farther for the week of January 23rd, 2022, 4 weeks to the race.
Welcome, everybody, to the 29th block. This is Anthony speaking, one of those two aforementioned Gomers, coming to you from Atlanta, Georgia, with my friend Steven, all the way out in Flagstaff, Arizona.
Hey, bro.
Hey, man. All right, so happy birthday, dude.
Thank you. Thank
Got to give you
you.
a huge shout out for your birthday because we're recording the day after your birthday. Okay.
44.
Whoa. I texted you
that's
that last night.
that's what you texted me last night. Like, oh frick is what you texted me.
Are you
44
kidding
question, a
me?
bunch of question marks. Pause. Next text. Oh frick.
We started this podcast in our 20s, bro.
Well, you did, right? Wasn't I
Nope.
30?
Mm-mm.
Oh
Wait,
no. Wait a
right?
minute. No,
Weren't you about.
I think I think the thing that triggered me was I had turned 30 and you were terrified of turning
Mm,
30.
got it. Okay, that's what it is. I mean,
Which for this brief amount of time, I am 2 years older than you, right? You're 42 still.
yeah. Yeah. So it's fun because for a few months you're two
Mm-hmm.
years older than me and we're
Yeah.
only 2 hours apart. And then for
Well,
like 6 months you're 3 hours behind me and we're only 1 year apart. It's so weird.
time is strange. Yeah, right. So we started this in '08. So I was
Hmm.
30 when we ran.
Got it.
Now, we may
You're
have
right.
been talking about the podcast. This is probably true. We may have
Hmm.
been talking about the podcast, and we certainly were having our Tuesdays with Tony
Hmm. Yep.
calls.
Tuesdays with Stevie starting in 2003.
Yeah, so that was way prior to 30.
Yep. The Gomers started, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
November 2003.
Right.
Maybe October. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think we were moving up to
Talking
what the
about the
heck are we?
view. We were
What are
talking
we gonna
about.
do? Yeah, we were talking about. Did you hear about Star Jones?
Yeah. Me me just walking around New York City with a dongle.
Jessica listening in, like, what? What are you guys talking about?
Yeah, I
Yeah,
remember. Yeah, I
totally.
had a Bluetooth. I had a
Uh-huh.
dongle like that you would literally plug in with an 1/8 inch mini into my
Mhm.
clamshell flip phone.
Clamshell, like like the VHS of The Lion King was in
Yeah,
your pocket.
like remember like if you closed it, it would hang up. So you'd have to like keep it
Oh,
in your
right.
pocket like open. You know?
I mean, that is a design flaw. Thank goodness they fixed that.
Like walking around with a clamshell in
Mm-hmm.
your jeans pocket open. Like and then
Like, sort of, was it sort of angled too? It
right. Yeah, it's
doesn't
like
open flush. It opens
no.
at that angle. Yeah.
That's
So
crazy.
I think that part of what the oh frick came from, right? Like,
Yeah, yeah.
what happened?
Oh,
It's been a long
frick.
time. Oh frick.
Dang. Okay. That's awesome. So
Yeah.
almost 30 starting the pod, just turned 30
Mm-hmm.
starting the pod,
Yeah.
and then mid 40s. One other oh frick moment. So
Yeah.
let's just do a true Gomer confession here.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
We've talked about a lot of times. I don't know what day of the week most things are, and I don't even know what date I'm on. So like I've missed my dad's birthday, I've
Mm-hmm.
missed Chad's birthday, I've
Yeah.
missed Alex's birthday. I've never missed Aaron's.
Okay, that's good.
Or
What about the girls?
Aaron and
Probably not the girls. Yeah.
no,
Because
because we always
that's like weeks of preparation up to that
totally
date. Yeah.
and decorating. One of our family traditions is the night before either of their birthdays, we always decorate the whole house,
Yeah.
hang balloons, and
Right.
fun things like that. And so yeah, that's impossible, especially
Yeah.
because Aaron and I are in it together. But
Mm.
I got off Instagram. I deleted all that crap. Hate that crap.
Yep.
Hate Facebook. All that stuff.
I do.
But it's a necessary evil, and
In birthday cases, it really is, right? That's the
Oh,
most necessary of all evils
you're
about
right.
it is like, oh no,
Mm-hmm.
it's my sister's birthday.
What? Well, okay. So check this out. So I'm like,
Just kidding, Julie. I've never forgotten your birthday.
Oh, right.
I always text or call. Well,
Yeah, but
I think
she doesn't listen to Runner's Block, dude. So
that's right. So who cares?
let's talk about Julie for a minute.
No, Ryan will hear it and alert her. I'm
right,
sure.
right.
I
Okay.
mean, we also did that, I think, on some previous episode. And I was like, Ryan's gonna hear this and tell Julie about it,
Yeah, for sure.
which is
But
good that she'll
anyway-
listen.
Right. Okay, good. Julie, how's it going, dude? So anyways, I like every couple days reinstall Instagram so I can check my DMs.
DMs
Clear.
more like BMs.
Yeah, totally. Clear the DMs, otherwise you get a BM or
Yeah, I don't know what.
Okay.
There's a joke in there somewhere.
Yeah, definitely. Okay. And I open up IG and it's like, ooh, the two Gomers have a new story. I'll check it out.
Oh, so you found out it was my birthday from Annie, our social media guru.
Yeah. I slide into my own DMs to check them out.
Uh-huh.
And up at the top, because the algorithm knows the Gomers are my favorite Instagram follow. Follow us at two Gomers.
Always the first story on the top of my Instagram is two Gomers.
Totally. So it's like, ooh, I'll check that out. And it's like, happy birthday to Stephen. I'm like,
Now, what time of night was this?
This was 9:30 p.m., dude.
Okay. Right.
And you and I texted yesterday a bunch of podcast stuff.
Yeah, so I was kind of waiting for it. Just so you know, I wasn't upset or anything. I know you're a busy guy. People are busy. I'm not one of these. You must wish
No,
me
but
happy
come
birthday or
on.
I hate you for the rest of your life. But I was like, oh, we've been texting a lot.
I will never forgive you.
You're like, oh, send me this document. Send me this document. I was like, okay.
Totally. It's like, happy birthday to our amazing podcast host, Gomer 2. And I'm like, oh, frick, what?
That was
And
the
like, there's a picture. You looking happy. And so then I was like, Annie, don't worry. I don't forget about you. But for a second, I forgot that Annie does that stuff. And I was like, did Steven do his own post? And I was like, this is the worst moment of my life. And I was like, he's like, happy birthday, me.
No. So this is the maybe the best thing of having a social media person. You don't have to feel like you have to alert people that follow your podcast that it's your own birthday. So thank you, Annie. That was very sweet. And
Annie,
also, it sounds like
awesome.
you saved the day.
Totally saved the day. So I'm sitting there, because I taught for like 6 hours.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting down to a nice Blue Apron meal, not a sponsor, but definitely check it out. That Aaron made with the girls, and they're in bed.
Emailed them. They haven't emailed me back. Come on, Blue Apron.
Oh, Blue Apron would rule. We love. Seriously, this is not paid. We use it like almost every week, 2 to 4 meals.
Don't buy it yet, folks. Not until we get them as a sponsor.
Wait for the coupon code. Wait for the algorithm. But I'm sitting there eating that, watching my favorite TV show of late, which is For All Mankind on Apple Plus.
Right. Yep.
Absolutely stinking loving that show. I've
It's
got
on
a
my
minute
list.
to myself. Yeah, love it. Slide into the DMs, see the story, and then I'm like, oh frick. So I texted you. Then we had a great text conversation. I'm like, I'm up for the rest of the night, dude. If you want to call me, but I'm sure you're having fun with your family. And you're like, I'm having a great time, and all is well.
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
No, it was great. You made it with plenty of time to spare on my end. 7:30.
True.
I'm getting these texts.
Anything to report, like as far as cool food or presents or anything?
Well, the thing I love most on my birthday, I usually try to clear my schedule.
Mm-hmm.
I like to spend some time by myself, considering my life.
Yep. Watch It's a Wonderful Life.
Ever the dramatic man, right?
Right.
I need hours to consider my life when it's my
Uh-huh.
birthday, which so I did. I took a long drive and went down to Sedona because it's
Hmm.
cold up here right now. So I thought I'll go down to Sedona and be warm, look at some big
Nice.
rocks. There's a new Nashville chicken place down there in Sedona that I
Ooh.
love.
Oh, no way.
So I treated myself to that for lunch. So good.
Mm-hmm.
Listen to some podcasts on the drive and also just like thought about my life, cried a little.
Yep.
You know how it is.
Oh, yeah,
We know how it goes.
for sure.
And then the other thing I like to do, so time by myself, good food,
Yep.
and then some time with the fam. They took me
Mm-hmm.
out to a Korean restaurant. I got a
Mm.
ticket on the way. That wasn't
Mm.
cool.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Expired plates. By the way, people,
Dope.
check your plates. That is not something people were thinking about during the pandemic, renewing their
Sure.
license plates.
Sure.
This little
Yeah.
Gomer's tip.
Yeah.
I asked the officer, "Why did you pull me over?" He said, "Because your plates expired in August 2000."
Oh.
Wait, that would be horrible. Oh,
Wait,
sorry, August
20.
2020. Yeah,
Okay. No way,
yeah,
dude.
August 2020. He was super nice because I think he saw on my driver's license that it was my birthday.
Oh, yeah. At least he
So,
knew what day it was.
so I read the thing, and it appears that I can renew my plate and then take it in to City
Sure,
Hall or
sure.
whatever and show them, and it will be
Yep.
forgiven. So that was a nice
Mm-hmm.
little birthday treat. But boy, oh boy, I was
Hmm.
like, no. But we went out to eat at a Korean restaurant. I got super awesome presents from the fam. My birthday's so close to Christmas
Right.
that I think it's hard sometimes. Never mind. What am I talking about? I always know exactly what I want, and I have a populated wish list on Amazon.
Yeah.
They always know just what to buy me. So I got
Nice.
a bunch of cool books and some new slippers and some new running pants. Great birthday. And then we
Nice.
just watched Book of Boba Fett and I went to bed early. It was fun.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Sounds great, dude.
Oh, I also watched in several sittings throughout the day. I watched The Godfather, which is
Mm.
often a movie that I like to watch on around my birthday or Christmas time.
Yeah, dude. Okay, that rules. Does
Yeah.
it make you hungry?
There was this moment that now I'm gonna forget. There's of course that main food moment, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where he's making the sauce,
Mm-hmm. Oh man, so good.
which is so good. But there was another moment where I was like, they're just sitting around waiting for Michael to get the call to go shoot the policeman and
Yep.
the other guy, and they're just sitting there eating.
Yep.
And it's some sort of pasta, and I couldn't tell what it was, but I was thinking we should do not a perfect movie episode on that movie, though we should do that, but we should
Yes.
just go through that entire movie, maybe the two movies, because there's also this scene where he's meeting his Italian wife,
Yep.
and it's this giant party.
Yeah,
And they're
yeah,
all eating, and he's looking across the
Oh.
table at her, and they're catching each other's eye, and she's touching
Yeah.
the necklace that he just gave her, and they're
Mhm.
eating this food and drinking this wine. And it looks so good.
Oh, yeah. Dude, that makes me proud to be Italian, man. Maybe not some
Mm.
of the other things in the movie. But
what? Everything's great about being an Italian in that movie.
but Goodfellas is another one too. With
Yeah.
Just perfect food.
Yeah,
Perfect
definitely.
food movie. All-time best food movie. But yeah, Godfather, it makes me really proud to be Italian because that food,
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, that's my food.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it makes me very, very happy. And when we watch that or think about that, it's a trigger to within 48 hours or something that has to be made.
I see.
Sausage,
Yep.
peppers, onions,
Mm-hmm.
tomato sauce, pasta. We call it crazy noodles with the girls. Dang
Ooh.
it, I'm getting hungry. And we turn on some Frank Sinatra. Aaron and I open up a bottle of red wine.
Mm.
That's ultimate right there.
You look at each other from across a long table. She touches
Mm-hmm.
the necklace that you gave her.
Yep, totally.
And then
It's
later
just
on,
like that. Yep,
the
it's
next
just
scene,
like that. Right.
you have to fast forward.
Yeah, dude, it's just like it's the best.
Yeah.
Okay, so happy birthday.
Thank you.
Oh, one other thing about the car situation. See, during COVID, during
Yeah.
quarantine,
Mm-hmm.
both our cars died because we just didn't
Really?
use them.
Okay.
So during COVID, we replaced both car batteries.
Okay. Yep.
I mean, the cars didn't die; just both batteries died.
I see what you mean. Yep.
Replaced the tires on the CRV because they
Uh-huh.
like went flat because they hadn't been driven in months.
Well, yeah,
You know what I mean?
I remember saving a ton of money on gas.
Oh my gosh, so much for sure.
And then right when pandemic ended, yeah, right when
Right.
things started calming down and we started driving more, Noah got his license. And so he
Mhm.
started driving more. Now Jack has his permit. We're just driving so much. And it's just all of a sudden you're paying for this stuff again. But I know what you mean.
Totally.
Like those cars just sat for a long time.
Yep. And we got both license plates renewed because we still had our Florida plates. We still had our
wow.
Florida plates because of like we paid for like all this registration. I don't know. It's a whole thing.
Yeah.
So and had to pay the taxes, all that
Mhm.
stuff. So
Oh, yuck. Yeah.
anyways, yep.
So people check your sticker. Check that little sticker
Yeah.
on your license plate. You might be surprised. It's better to be surprised that way than seeing those red and blue flashing lights in your rear view. Ugh.
Totally, dude. Yuck.
Yeah. All right. Oh, now you ran. You told me you ran yesterday. We're gonna get to the
Mhm.
block and my race and review because I ran a half marathon a couple weekends ago.
Yep.
But you texted me yesterday. You ran a little bit. You said you hadn't run for I think 9 days.
Yep.
Are you ready to reveal the reasoning for that break?
Yeah, dude. Yeah. Okay, so we're gonna record our next episode. The block is gonna be I had COVID, man. Dang it.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Frick. It's like we were looking it up right before the podcast. I
Yeah.
tested positive like coming up on 2 weeks ago from recording this.
Right.
Then Aaron did. The girls
Mhm.
didn't. Like they
They're
never
still
did,
negative?
even though
Interesting.
they're still negative.
Yeah.
Everybody's vaccinated. We're boosted. All the stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll talk about that in the next episode. But
Yeah.
yeah, dude, I didn't run for 9 days, so recovering from that,
Yeah.
and we'll go into all that. We don't need to spoil all that material right now. Wait,
We
no,
were
hold on.
I
We
will
don't.
just
Yeah,
say
we don't need to talk about that right now. We'll do that in that block.
right. I will just say we were texting a little bit back and forth yesterday. I can't remember if this was pre happy birthday or post happy birthday, but
Yeah.
I think we were texting sometime yesterday where I was like, I still feel good about the race coming up.
Yep.
I still feel like we can make this happen. I know that that having that training has been good because then if you get sick, then you can come back knowing that you trained before you got sick, right? And so
Right.
I think we'll get to the race in 4 weeks from the release of this episode, and we'll figure it out. But we're going to talk about all that next episode.
Oh, for sure, because we need to talk about. I mean, basically, I've cut all of the stuff in half. I mean,
Right.
that's what I'm doing right now. Like, so I was
Mhm.
supposed to do 60 minutes yesterday. I did 30 minutes.
Right.
Supposed to do 4 miles tomorrow. I'm gonna do the 4 miles.
Yeah.
Then a cross train, then a rest day, and then next week I'm gonna I'm still gonna have to cut some of it down significantly. Fatigue was the main
Yeah.
symptom
Yep.
and the lingering symptom.
Mhm.
So yeah.
Yep. Yeah. And we put this survey out yesterday. We got a lot of great feedback. I think it's going to be a great episode to talk about.
Right. Here's something else we texted. We can maybe save this for the most part, but I was like, dude, I always thought you were gonna get it first.
I do want to talk about why you said that because I thought so
Not-
too. Well, let's talk about that next episode because that's going to be
Oh,
fun.
for sure. And we're not making light of literally, a pandemic level thing, but yeah.
No, if people have been listening to the podcast for the past
Yeah.
whatever it has been, 13 or 14 years, they know why we think that. But I would have been the one to get it first.
Yeah. Okay. We'll talk. It's not because you're irresponsible. Let's just put it that way. It's not because of that. It's just like you look at something and you get sick.
Wow. All right.
Wow.
I can't go any farther. That's the block. We're gonna do some race and review. I say we head right into it.
All right, let's do it. All right, let's keep going, but let's clap.
Okay.
Okay. 1, 2, 3.
1, 2, 3.
All right. Hey, how's it going over there? Dude, I can't wait to hear about your race. I am a 13.1 subscriber, so I did listen to your race and review already. But if anybody else wants to check that out, go to patreon.com/2gomers and go to the 13.1 level. You can hear a 20-minute race and recap episode.
My favorite thing is when Dr. Knutson shills for us. Right? That was a very interesting hello to the block. It was mostly an ad for the Patreon.
Go do it. Listen to it. It's fun. Steven does a full recap live with the Kaz and Jessica. So,
you hear a little bit of Jack in there.
Oh yeah, right.
So we went. So if this is somebody's first episode, or if they've skipped ahead, some people are like, "Oh, I just went to the latest one because I wasn't caught up on the Gomers." What's going on right now is Anthony and I have a race coming up in Atlanta the last weekend of February. So that's 4-ish weeks from when you're hearing this right now. But before we decided that, this is my recollection. I was like, dude, I think though I signed up for the rock and roll in January already. This was like months ago, like late summer. We were talking about this.
Yeah.
Because sometimes they're like, sign up today for the Memorial Day sale, and it's half off.
Sure, yeah.
And so I had some sort of recollection that I had signed me and Jessica up for that. And I had. And so I asked your permission. Can I, even though we're running in February, the end of February, can I run this race anyway? In mid-January.
Right.
Please, sir, may I run this race?
First of all, most definitely you don't need permission. I was thinking about, I was laughing because I was like, wait, you already did what this podcast is about.
Right. Which was my main concern. That's why I don't ask Anthony every time I run a race, please. Can I have a bit of crust of bread and some water, and may I run a half marathon?
Definitely not.
This was like, I don't want it to screw up the story that we're telling.
Yeah. The narrative.
Right. That's
the narrative.
And you were like, dude, just run your race, right?
Right.
Hebrews
Stay
12.
in your lane. Hebrews 12, 1 and 2, right? My life verse.
Yes.
Run the race set out for you.
So I did. And so I've been training for this race. So just so you know, my plan now for the training, dude, is I'm just going to, so what I have been doing is throughout the week, I've been doing exactly what Laura has written down on the training schedule.
Right.
But on the LSRs, the weekend runs, I've just been increasing that mileage that she has on there by 5.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Because that's how many weeks are between these two races. So, so now I'm just going to follow the training that she's given us exactly.
Okay, great.
So now we're going to be in similar places to what the actual training says.
Got it.
Even though I know you have to warm back into it after being sick.
Right. So similar places meaning I just crushed a half marathon, didn't have COVID, and I'm 10 years ahead.
I may have. I don't know. We'll talk about COVID more next week, but some people I know are like, the only reason I know I have it is because I had to go to this conference or something, and I took a test and I found out I had it. Totally asymptomatic. So
for sure.
It could have been, but yeah, I see your point that we're still in different places. I'm just telling you what the training is looking like for me in the next 4 weeks.
Totally. And also it's just going to be a different kind of race.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like I was talking about that with Aaron the other day. I was like, it's just going to be a completely different experience than what you just had. Like,
Definitely. Yes.
super fun weekend, tons of great food, a
Yep.
super great hang, and then we
Mm-hmm.
go run a half marathon together. You know what I mean? It's in so many ways, it's something to push towards with the podcast, and it's also something really fun to do together to aim for.
Right.
So
Yep.
yep.
So that is different than what this race was, the Rock and Roll in Phoenix. The other big difference, dude, is Atlanta's hilly,
Mm,
which I'm
yeah.
kind of nervous about. And so we talked about this a while ago. I've committed
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
actually running the hills in my neighborhood instead of
Yep.
avoiding
Me
them
too.
to get used to this. Um, so the race that we ran this past Sunday was we weren't going for like a PR,
Hmm.
but we trained pretty well. I was feeling pretty strong, especially because of all the strength training that Laura has been having us do.
Those
And so,
glutes.
those pinching the penny.
Hmm.
Um, so we were just like, well, we would love to run it in under 2 hours and 10 minutes. So like two
Right.
hours and single digits would be really cool.
Yeah.
So we just went for it. We like stood next to the guy with a little pole, the pacer,
Yep.
with that time on it, 2:10, and we just ran it. Ended up running it in 2:05:50 was the official time.
Sweet.
So that's like 9:36s, I think, or 9:35 pace.
Okay.
Now, the reason for that, there's a lot of reasons for that, I think. One is I friggin' forgot how fun it is.
Yeah.
So this is the first long distance race I've run in 3.5 years.
Yeah, dude.
Kaz and I ran that 5K over the summer, but it was pretty small. And that's not a long distance race. It's just as short as you can get, I guess.
Yep.
So I was just like adrenaline just pumping because of how fun it is.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
many
I'm
people.
so curious about the vibe. Like, I listened to the like live stuff.
Right.
For those that aren't half marathon subscribers, could you just describe just a little bit of the difference
Yeah.
that it is right now, and like masks and all that kind of stuff? What
Right. So
the expo?
there were obviously less people signed up for this race. The expo, you could tell right away. There were like way fewer booths. You know how
Booths.
remember when we go to the expo and there was like a giant like Brooks, not only
Oh
booth,
yeah.
but like the whole corner of this giant
Totally.
hotel, whatever you call it, conference.
Yep. Convention
It, it,
center.
it right. It looked like when I went to Comic-Con in LA. That's what it looks like tons of people, tons of
Yeah.
samples. Just, but I would say there were probably like 20 booths at the expo.
Hmm.
So that's a huge difference, just a
Yep.
massive difference. And so right away you can tell there's not as many people signed up. My guess, I don't know what you think about this, but my guess is either a lot of people are sick
Hmm.
and canceled, and so a lot
Yep.
of then display booths, whatever these companies canceled,
Right.
or they just didn't sign up at all because it's still early
Mm-hmm.
in this whole thing and Omicron is going nuts, and so they just didn't
Right.
sign up for the race at all.
Yep.
So I don't know. That's it. Whatever it was, there were a lot less people there. So we kind of figured there would be less. Also, they started the half marathon and marathon at the same time,
Hmm.
which
7:30 a.m. Right?
7:50 I think we started.
Man, isn't that late to start a
Yes.
marathon? That's
Yep.
really late, especially with the sun beating down in Phoenix. Jeez.
So it was still a bit cool. I did this
Okay.
thing where I got one of those throwaway long sleeve shirt
Yep,
like
love
we
it.
did
Uh-huh.
in the OG half.
Yeah.
But you're right. It still was. By the time we started, I didn't need that long sleeve shirt at all.
Yeah.
Um, but I think that that's probably when the latest corral would have gone, 7:50, and this
Mm,
was the first. So I don't know what the reasoning is there, but that felt different.
Right.
There were less people. You could tell that even with both races starting at the same time.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Okay.
Um, so, and we masked, and there were certainly other people masked, but not the
Mhm.
majority. I mean, you can probably guess there was like, I would say maybe like 10 to 20%
Okay.
had
Yeah.
masks with them.
Got it.
So that felt a little strange. I have to be honest. It just felt strange to be in tight quarters with people. Even though you're outside, I get that, but still, we're
Sure.
just like, we're going to mask. We're not going to feel bad about it. So we masked for about 2 miles, maybe, before everything kind of spread out. And then we felt
Okay. Got it.
okay taking the masks off.
Got it.
Crowds were way lower. There were only like 3 or 4 bands.
Oh man, the rock and roll.
It's called Rock
Right?
and Roll, and maybe there were more bands than that, but it wasn't every mile like when we've run it
Yeah.
together.
Right.
No cheerleaders. Come on.
Yep. Oh man, we need people cheering us on, dude. You mean like actual cheerleaders or like crowd?
No, remember, like at the Rock and Roll, there are actual cheerleading
Oh,
squads.
I don't remember that. That's strange that I don't like. Usually, I remember everything about a race. Like you're like
Well,
your
maybe,
mind
or
is being
yeah,
blown all over the place. So you're like, I don't remember that at all.
I guess that
Huh.
could be a newer addition.
Okay.
That might be true, but you remember the bands, and there were fewer bands.
Totally.
And then the
Yeah.
big difference, I would say, is that they knew the most packed place would be right at the finish line, and so nobody was allowed.
Right.
Like
Crazy.
in that like 13 to
Yeah.
13.1 section where usually people are all screaming, and you and my dad
Yep.
were there, and last time
Right.
I ran it, and all of that was empty. So you can actually hear that on the
Yeah.
live, because I'm
Silent ending.
yeah, a silent ending besides whatever lady is in charge of like color commentary
Yeah.
at that point. So we cross the finish line, and it's like, yay, ooh, we did it.
Good job, guy.
But when I just
Graham
that is
Stephen Graham.
Stephen Graham, man, the most vivid memory I have, dude, of our first half is when we were coming around that corner to the finish line.
Yep. Oh man, like we had like phones on our shoulder, like on
You
our
were talking
arms.
to your mom.
I was talking to my mom on the phone.
I don't think she answered. I think you were leaving her a message. Mom, I'm almost crossed. I just want you to know. I'm not making fun of you. It was actually a really special moment.
That's
But
hilarious.
the reason I remember that is because you were like shouting into your phone because there was so much noise. People with cowbells, clang, 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 right?
Yeah,
People
yeah.
screaming, signs, waving
For sure.
signs. So that was a very different feel.
So now you could have like actually been like on a Zoom call, like at work. They wouldn't know where you were.
Right. Just calling in.
I'm going to have my screen off, but I will be running a half marathon.
There still are those moments, and I would say even when we ran together, even pre-pandemic and now, where it's just kind of everybody just grinding,
Right.
right? Like
Yeah.
it's just pounding pavement,
Mm-hmm.
and actually it's pretty quiet. And so I caught some of those moments. I will say there's still we're cheering people, but far less than usual.
Yep.
Far
Cool.
fewer. Yeah.
Yep.
So it was a great race. I am really curious about what the Atlanta one is going to be like.
Yeah, me too.
When it comes to those things, I don't know.
Yeah, I know. It'll be 4 weeks from when this comes out, so 5 weeks from now.
Yep.
I mean, I think the peak of the wave has gone down, or
Right.
I
So
think it's trending down.
We'll almost be in March.
Right.
So the hope is, yeah, that will be several weeks past the peak. I'm just like curious about what the locations that I've run long races are: Phoenix, Minnesota, Wisconsin.
Right.
So I've never run a long race in any other state. So I'm
For
just
real?
like thinking about, I don't know how this happens when I'm like practicing a talk and I don't know the venue that I'm going to be
Yep.
speaking in. It's hard for me to practice it well because I don't know what the venue is going to look like. I feel like the same way in this
Yeah.
case.
Huh. Well, it's going to be hilly. It may be it'll be more humid than where you're at, but I don't
I
think
think
it'll.
I think I'm gonna feel it. Jessica and I were talking
Right.
about that. Like
Yeah.
somebody said to Kaz was talking about this, that somebody said for the first time to him, yeah, but it's a dry cold about and he was like, I've never heard that before. But I
Yeah,
do
but it's
actually
a
think there's a that that's true. When I go to Wisconsin or I go elsewhere, I'm like, this cold feels different than our cold.
right. I'm just looking up average
Ooh, good.
temperature
Yeah.
in Atlanta on February 27th, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Farmer's
Let's
Al
see.
Pull out the Farmer's Almanac. I remember
Yeah.
that from the high school library. That's how we figure
Okay.
this kind of thing out.
Yeah, totally. So it says um should be like in the 50s.
Okay, great.
So it should be in the 50s and it's going to be in the morning.
Yep.
So it's going to be great. Hills are the only thing we need to worry about.
By far the thing I'm most
Hills, no.
concerned about. Yeah. So
Yeah.
there was some up and down on the race that I did this past weekend, but I mean the majority of it is just incredible. You remember, just flat,
Yeah. It's totally.
straight, flat, great
Yep.
weather. So as I was thinking about the block I wanted to talk about, I there's this block I've been hitting a lot since we've been running longer distances for the training for this race. And it's something that has gone through my mind over and over again. And it's the phrase, I can't imagine going any farther than I just did.
Right. Yep.
So there's that. And there's also in the moment, several of my training runs, I was bonking, which I hadn't done in a while.
Mm-hmm.
And I think bonking I would describe as like sometime between like the last half, within the last half of your training run or your race, you just feel like you cannot go on.
Yeah, you're like I just don't want to, or I can't go any further. Like this is it. Why
It's
can't
actually a
the end
mix
be
between
here?
those two things. It's like,
Right.
your two blocks, I can't or I don't want to. It's like the
Right.
perfect storm between those two blocks, and it feels like hitting a wall.
Yep.
And you're like, forget it.
Yeah, it's like
Go
you'd have
on.
to go if you wanted to go home, you'd still have to it's like it's not like the wall happens when you're home. You know, like so
No.
that you could lay down anyways, but it's like, well, frick. This is like the word of the week, frick, for some
Yeah.
reason.
Yep.
But it's like I'm still 5 miles from home, you
I
know?
would say mostly it
You know what
happens
I
at
mean?
the worst place
Sure.
for it to
Yep.
happen.
Yeah, totally.
So like you're saying, if you're doing an out and back, it's like the longest way you're away from home, or
Uh-huh.
I don't know. It just has a way of doing that. The bonk.
Yep.
Um,
Yep.
so the phrase that goes through my mind at that moment is, I can't go any farther.
Yep.
And then the other thing that happens is once I'm done with the run, I'm like, how in the world am I going to go another mile next week?
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Now, I will say that because the half marathon and marathon started at the same time at this race this past weekend, we split off at mile
Right.
8, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And I watched those marathoners run away, and I have never been happier about my life choices than in that moment.
You're like, we've been at that point and then had to turn right.
And
You know what I mean?
been so jealous of the half marathoners.
Been like, dude, do you wanna just do the half?
oh yeah.
Totally.
Like, because you just can't, something in me just can't. When we got done with the half marathon, I was like, we would have had to do that again.
Yeah, like
And we
turn
have
around
done
and
that
go
again.
back.
So we walked all the way back to our hotel. Gomer's tip. This is the best thing we've ever done. We found a hotel a quarter of a mile away from the starting line.
Fantastic.
So we
That
didn't
rules.
have to deal with stinking Ubers or parking or anything. We just stayed in this hotel. We walked and it was like a warm up. And then
Yep.
we warmed down on the way back.
Mm-hmm.
Terrific. Do that. Anyways, we walked all the way back to the hotel. We leisurely showered.
Yep.
We did something we weren't supposed to do, which was we went to the hot tub.
Oh, right.
I know you're not supposed to do that. I actually went in the pool first, which was cold.
Yep.
And then I was like, I'm just going to go in the hot tub. So I did that. 2 hours later, we start the drive to In-N-Out. And there are still people running.
Oh, yeah.
Because because they haven't finished the marathon yet and they've got a ways to go. And I was like,
Yep.
Yuck.
Yeah, you were done with the hot tub.
Right.
Almost at In-N-Out.
Yep.
Yep.
So I mean, I don't, it just, there's this thing in me where I'm like, I can't make my brain get to the point where I can go farther than I just went. It's so weird. And the worst is when that happens to you mid-run.
Yeah. Is it the kind of thing where you can only go like today it says this on the mileage sheet, and so that was what I'm expecting.
Right.
And so like that's what I can do today. Like if you were to, because you didn't train for a marathon, you know what I mean? So of course you're going to turn left and only do the half marathon.
Yeah.
But if you're expecting to run 10 miles on a certain day, you know, that's different than like if you're expecting to 5, but then all of a sudden have to go 10.
Well,
or something.
And so that gets me thinking. I was thinking the exact same thing as you were during the race and since, and even on some of my training runs. Like, well, I was only on the schedule to run 6, so I can't imagine running 7.
Yeah,
so then I think, is all of this in my head?
Yeah, right.
When I say I can't go any farther, is that a physical thing happening in me in that moment, especially when I'm mid-run, or is this mental? And I think for me, it's mostly mental.
Sure.
There's physical, of course, because you're running and you've been running a long time and your body is saying to you, like, what are you doing?
Yeah. Well, you said this amazing thing on your, I can't remember when you were talking about it. Oh, the Insta story you did like a couple weeks ago before I deleted that crap.
Yep. That was the last straw. Delete.
Right. Yeah. That was it. Forget it. No. And you were like, the time between the wall and finishing is actually the most important time.
Right.
Right.
And so that was something, big surprise, that I read in Runner's World.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just going to jump to some practical things that help me.
Okay.
Is that okay? Because
sure.
For some reason, and this is why I know it's mental for me mostly, most of my tips to overcome the bonk or the I can't go any farther are mental tricks. I do have physical tricks too, but it's almost always reminding myself of something that I forgot in that moment because I'm hurting physically or I'm discouraged mentally. And so when I read in Runner's World that the last quarter of every training run is the most important, no matter how long the distance is.
That's huge.
The final quarter of it is where you're building grit. It's where your muscles are building. And so the last quarter of your run is making it possible for you to run farther next time.
Sure. Wow.
Then it's like running into the hill instead of on top of the hill, or like whatever we were saying, like relaxing in. Then I'm able to say, okay, there's a reason why this is hard. It's because it's important. Yeah. And so I'm going to run farther. And something happens in me, and I know it's a trick when I'm doing the trick, but that doesn't matter. It still helps to say, I can do the last quarter of this run. I can go farther.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yep.
So for some reason, that has been the most helpful thing to me in this training time around, is to remember that one thing I read in Runner's World. I don't remember what other article it was in. I don't know who wrote it. I don't even know if it's true. It doesn't matter in that moment.
Yeah, that's part of the stuff that they've gleaned off the internet from
Right.
season 1.
Just some person like way younger than us saying like, well, this might be true. I'll write in Runner's World. It could be that. But that's
Yep.
that's why I know that my mentality in that moment is so important, because just thinking that gets me, it gets me to the end of that run or race.
Yeah, dude. Well, it's like the pain has purpose.
Yep. For sure.
It's the why of it. So you're like,
Mhm.
ugh, this is miserable. I hate this. Why am I doing this? You're doing this because it's making you stronger. You're doing it
Yeah.
because it's going to help you. You're building, you're building on last week's LSR.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
So because, people like ask that kind of stuff all the time. Like, why do you run?
Mm-hmm.
Like, why do that?
Yeah.
You know?
So that goes right into my next mental tip,
Mm.
which is something we talked about so many years ago, and then we mentioned very briefly on the last Out of the Gomer Vault on
Oh, yeah.
patreon.com/2gomers. We've been
Yep.
re-releasing these specials that have been previously unavailable. And so the special
fun to
came out.
listen to those.
I know. And we
Jeez,
mentioned
crazy.
our mantras.
Ooh, yeah, I love those mantras. Yep.
So I haven't really used mantras in a long time. And then for some reason this time around, I've needed a mantra again.
Okay.
So one thing you said on that was like one of your mantras was be water. Remember that?
Did I say that or did you say that? That does not sound like me.
Well, it doesn't sound like me
Be
either.
water?
Who knows? That's a great question. Did I say
Who
it or
said
you
that?
say it? I don't
It sounds
know.
vaguely familiar. Okay, be water. Okay. What does that mean?
I don't know
Smooth?
what that means.
Placid? Liquid?
Yeah, I guess so. Like relax in or something like that. That's not the one I've been using.
Ah,
The one
okay.
I've been using is I had forgotten about, and I only remembered because of that Out of the Gomer Vault episode.
Yep.
I say to myself, practice not quitting.
Ah, love that.
So speaking of the why, right?
Yep.
Like, why do you run that long? Because it teaches me not to quit.
Yep.
And so it puts me in a position where I want to stop. I want to stop so bad.
Right.
It's just like everything in me is like, why? Like your brain starts working against you.
Yeah. It's
Like, why are you doing this? This is stupid.
yeah, I think about like Indy, my dog.
Uh-huh.
Like we talk about this sometimes. Like, at what point, if we were to like go on like a 20-mile walk, would
Yeah.
she be like, what's happening here? Like, why are
This
we
is
still...
overkill.
Yeah, like, why are we still doing this? It's almost like your body at some point is like, why are you still doing this?
Yes, definitely. And so I don't know if it's my body saying that to me or my mind saying that to me, but it's not only like, why are you doing this right now? I will go to a place where it's like, why am I doing this at all?
Sure.
Like,
yeah.
So many people don't.
Yeah.
Like I started thinking about the dad on Grumpy Old Men, where it's like so friggin' old. He's in his 90s and he's like,
yeah,
I eat bacon for breakfast,
bacon
for lunch, and I drink my dinner. And this guy's 90 years old, right? And I know that's fake.
Yeah, right.
Like some people do that and they're fine. Why am I putting myself through this? And so I need to, the reason that mantra, practice not quitting, works so well for me is because it expands the reasoning.
Yeah.
That I am developing a grit, which I've used that word several times, I think, in the past couple months, to do other things in my life that are hard and go past that. I can't go any farther or further in other areas of my life. And then for some reason that motivates me to go just a little bit farther.
That's awesome. So the why is it's helping you develop grit.
Yep. That's right.
Perseverance, determination.
Yeah.
The knowledge that you can do hard things.
I finish what I start and all that stuff.
Ooh, I wrote that big on we have like some note cards with Bible verses around our house that we just like tape up. One is actually over a hole in the wall, which I can't figure out how to fix. I was like,
How did you make that hole in the wall? It just
no,
was there.
no. It was actually there. It wasn't a hole. It's like part like on some
Like an
corners of
imperfection.
walls. Yeah, there's like metal, like a
Uh-huh.
metal bar,
Right. Yeah.
you know,
Mm-hmm.
and so like it's come up a little bit, and so basically I need to
Yeah.
like fix it. Anyways, but you know what worked great was a little index card with a Bible verse on it, and just put it right over that.
Wow, we're full of tips today.
Totally Gomer ship. But
Yep.
what I paraphrased was he finished he finishes what he starts, and that's
Mm-hmm.
God.
Yeah.
But I love that idea though. Like I finish what I start.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like you finish what you started.
Yeah.
It's a
Yep.
good. That's part of
It's-
that last quarter. It's
Yes.
like I started this 10-miler. Oh geez, I've got one of those coming up. I've got an 8-miler next week. So the furthest I've run, dude. Speaking of, I can't go any further. Is 6.55 miles in.
Snow.
Well, yeah, in snow. But then before that, I did it on my birthday, April 15th,
Oh, right. Yep.
2021.
Mm-hmm.
So when I do 7 and then 8, it's going to be. Actually, I missed my 7 because of stupid COVID. So I'm just jumping straight to 8.
Right.
And that's going to be the longest I've run in 5-10 years. I don't know. When's the
Yeah.
last half marathon we did?
2016. 5 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got it. Oh yeah, we did the Conquer the Capital. I still wear
Right.
that shirt. Okay,
Yeah.
so it'll be the longest I've run in 5 years.
So that, and I know other people are in that spot where it's when they are training for a longer race, you're constantly thinking, I've never run this far ever.
Sure.
Or like you're saying, I've never run, I haven't run this far in years. And we know people are dealing with this after the last couple of years, right?
Yeah.
That some people are getting out again. And so I think if you can find a mantra that works for you and remind yourself, no matter what the distance, that last quarter when you're likely to bonk and say, I can't go any farther, is the most important. For some reason, that's really worked for me.
Dude, how about this for a block? I need a mantra. We could do a whole block about mantras.
I'm writing it down.
I need a mantra.
Love it. And we can ask people what their mantras are.
Ooh. The listener feedback edition. I need a mantra. Give us your
Great idea.
mantras.
Okay.
Mm.
Love that. Okay. Can I just, before we stop, I do have some physical tips that have helped.
Sure, yeah.
So when I'm in that moment and I'm there kind of, and I get past it mentally, I still feel terrible physically
Yep.
a lot of the time
Right.
because I'm 9-10 miles in, or if it's an 8-mile, it's always that last quarter. If I'm running
Right.
1 mile, I feel terrible at the 3/4 to 1 mile mark.
I 100% of the time, the first mile I hate.
Yeah. First and last is so hard.
Yep. Yeah, actually, I'm going to talk about that in the COVID because my 5-miler I did at the beginning, not knowing that I had it.
Yeah. Oh,
and I was
right.
just like, I just feel terrible.
Yeah.
So, and I was like, it's just that dumb first miler thing.
It's hard. Yeah.
Yep.
So once I get past the mental stuff, I still feel like I need to do something physically. So at that point, I focus on form. That's been my physical trick. And so the things that I do several things. I stand up taller instead of slouch.
Yep.
Because the more I want to quit, the more I kind of fold in on myself.
Sure.
And so I stand up tall. I put my elbows back so that I open up my chest a little bit. And what I do is I touch my hips basically with the tips of my fingers. So my elbows end up being behind me instead of out front of me.
Okay.
We're both doing it right now.
This is why you got to watch it on Zoom.
Right. I know
YouTube.
for this exclusive visual.
Pinch the penny, bro. Pinch the penny.
I am pinching the penny. The third thing I do is I claw the ground with my feet. That's going to sound weird, but I imagine like instead of like with my feet like
plop,
like
plop,
prodding,
plop, bam,
right?
bap. Yeah, yeah.
Instead, I imagine them like are there animals that run on? I don't know. I don't know what animal I am. I do imagine myself more animalistic at that point, where I'm
Okay.
clawing the ground behind, like I'm digging at
Mm-hmm.
the ground with my feet and
Mm-hmm.
throwing out dust and dirt behind me. That helps.
Yeah.
Um, which also leads up to this fourth one, which is instead of slowing down in that moment, I punch it.
Ah.
Even if it's for 30 seconds, instead of being like, oh, here's another
Blap.
visual that people are just like your whole
Yeah, yeah.
body going loose, and I I just punch it for 30 seconds.
Sure. So think about like a little kid that doesn't want to go, like, oh god, like you're
Right.
dragging them.
Yep.
Yeah.
Instead of that, I'm
Instead
like
of that,
BB-8, Poe says to him punch it, and BB-8
punch it.
punches it.
Yep.
And so whatever, I mean, maybe this is the thing, whatever works for me mentally, I'm going to go there right then, and I'm going to
Mm-hmm.
let it impact my physical so that I can get just a little bit farther instead of quitting, which is what I want to do because I can't go any farther. Um, Now, for some reason, during the race this past weekend, my adrenaline was high, and so I never bonked.
Mm. Nice.
But you know as well as I do that I have bonked before in races,
Oh
and
yeah.
I mean, I think if it weren't for you in that second marathon, there's no way I would have finished it.
Just walked off the course.
Really, Erin too, right? She
DNF.
came in and helped
Yeah,
us
yeah.
the
Yeah.
last 3 miles, I think. Where so there have been times when it was like a razor thin line of I'm going to keep going or I'm going to quit.
Yeah.
And I
Yep.
probably have quit on a lot of training runs too. So,
It's like I'm done. We're done here.
yep. So those are my tips. I
Nice,
want people to
dude.
hear you can go farther.
Yeah.
Your whole self is going to say you can't, but I'm here to tell you you can go farther, and so you should.
What was I watching the other day where there was a chase scene?
Mm,
Oh, National Treasure.
okay.
Partner to
Hey, you
National Treasure.
speaking my language. Yeah.
And I'm just like, sometimes like you forget when you're watching like a chase scene of a movie that they're running, like sprinting for like
Yeah.
miles, it seems. You
Right.
know what I mean? And I'm like, I thought about that actually on my run yesterday, as I was like, okay, let's pretend somebody's chasing me, and I'll run for like 10 seconds like that, and I'm like, oh, I'm done. You know, like I'm like, if I was in a chase scene of a movie, I would be
Yeah.
captured immediately, dude.
Oh, there's almost nothing I can do that happens in National Treasure.
Yeah.
Or
That
any
is
movie.
such a good movie though, dude.
I think I've said this to you before. The thing that would happen that I would fail at immediately is hanging from anything. So if I
Mm-hmm.
had to hang off the side of a building or a cliff,
Yep.
I would last 1 second, and I'd be like, "Ooh, dead."
Let go. Dead.
All right. Well, listener, we actually want to hear your mantras. We can start this right now. If you have a mantra, and we're going to do an episode coming up probably soon after the race. We want to hear your mantras. If you have any other thing that you want to share with us about this block or anything else, you can contact us. The best way to find all of our social medias is go right to bit.ly/runnersblock. All of our social media is there, but also there's a little squared that you can put what your runner's block is, so that we have plenty of ideas for future episodes. Call us on the Gomer phone. That number is
608 NBA Pony. That's 608 622 7669, dudes.
You can leave us feedback on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. We always love that. That gets us into more listeners' ears. If you like what you hear, and you're new to the Gomers, you can check out our 10th anniversary episodes from September to November 2018. Get the Gomer vibe, see what we're all about, and then you can go all the way back to the start 13 years ago. Thanks to Davis for our music, Jason for graphics, Adam for our website, Annie for our social media, and thank you to our Gomertrons. Those are our supporters that subscribe to our second podcast, the bonus disc on Patreon, New Home of Perfect Movie, and other bonus episodes that we release each and every week, including, like Anthony was mentioning, that live footage from my race that people can hear. We've got Perfect Cracker coming up. We've got the end of our
Baby.
MCU tour that Anthony just finished. We're about to record that
Ooh,
episode.
baby. Yep.
Star Wars is out. Is Star Wars
Oh
a
my
perfect
gosh.
movie?
We have a 2-hour episode on Star Wars episode 4, A New Hope.
Right. Where we
Jeez.
have so much to talk about that we never mentioned Chewie.
Never mentioned Chewie. We never mentioned so much, dude. We didn't talk about
it's
Han
impossible.
Solo almost at all. But we did talk about Han Maboogie.
We did. I was thinking that when I listened through the episode. At least we said Han's name.
Yep.
But that's why we also have
J-Dubs.
result episodes on that bonus disc. We're
Yep.
going to come back and let people know if Star Wars is a perfect movie and talk a lot more about that. So if you're not a Gomertron, patreon.com/2gomers.
Do it. Come join the fun over there.
Yes. Okay. I'm going to end it. Hold on.
What?
We're going to have to edit. Sorry, I ran out of gas there.
Oh,
Hold
that's
on.
fine, dude. Just say, well, great up.
Okay. Great app.
Wait, say like, well, dude,
Okay.
great app.
Yeah.
That'll be easier.
Well, dude, thanks for hearing me out on my racing review and that can't go farther block. People can go farther. That's what I want them to hear.
For sure, dude. And remember, everybody, if we can do it, if Steven can do it, if I can do it, if Jessica can do it, if Kaz can do it, you can do it.
And happy running.
Sweet. Swizzle swank.
Great.
Thanks,
Okay.
dude. That was great.
Let's stop that.
Okay. Oh, yeah. 1, 2, 3, stop.
Sweet. Bye, Gomertrons. Thanks for listening.
Bye.
Bye-bye.